always be mine. Sing it to the world. Always be my boy. I'll always be your girl. Nobody business. Ain't nobody business. Ain't nobody business but mine and my baby. Mine and my baby. But mine and my baby. But mine and my baby. Ooh. I look you, baby. I look you, baby. Me and you did it. Ain't nobody business. Said it ain't nobody business. Your love is perfection. Please point me in the right direction. I'ma give you all my affection. Every touch becomes infectious. Let's make out in this Lexus. There's no other love just like this. I like with you. I wonder, can we become love persona? You'll always be the one that I wanna come home to, boy. Let me love you and show you how special you are. I wanna be your baby. You'll always be my baby. Tell me what you want now. Sing it to the world. Baby, give me time. I'ma be your girl.
And I want to say this to all of you that sat down and took the knee. Englishman, get up! It is not time to sit down and take the knee. It is time to stand up against a system that fundamentally hates you. And I will say this to all the elites, to everybody that seeks to replace us. England will live, Britain will live, because the British people live. And we have the heart of Britain inside of us. And as long as the heart of Britain beats, Britain will live!
Once upon a time, somebody ran away, saying fast as I can. I got to go, I got to go. Once upon a time, we fell apart. You're holding in your hands the two halves of my heart. Oh, 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 oh.
Once upon a time, we burned bright. All we ever seem to do is fight. On and on. And on and on and on. Once upon a time on the same side.
This is the moment you've been waiting for. Don't call it a warning. This is a war.
It's a parasite. Got a feeling in your stomach 'cause you know that it's coming for you. Leave your flowers and green. Don't forget what I told you. When we forget the infection, will we remember?
Hugh Anthony. No offense to the GOAT, my GOAT, Hugh Anthony.
Said our hustlers' work is never through. We making it 'cause we making moves. The only thing we know how to do. Said it's the only thing we know how to do. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Said our hustlers' work is never through. We making it 'cause we making moves. The only thing we know how to do. Said it's the only thing we know how to do. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Yeah, said our hustlers' work is never through. We making it 'cause we making moves. The only thing we know how to do. Said it's the only thing we know how to do. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard.
I just want to say the weather's getting better. It's nice and warm. You know what? I am sweating like a fat bitch in a chippy right now because it's extremely warm in my box of a room. But you know what keeps me cool? When I'm sweating my ass off, doing a live show with 5 different lights beaming on me, a nice cold mug of blackcurrant juice in a Prioritise Britain mug. Nothing beats a nice cold mug of blackcurrant juice in a Prioritise Britain mug. And if you want your own Prioritise Britain mug, you can go and get one on the website www.prioritisebritain.co.uk. In fact, drinking this will send you straight to Agartha. The Prioritise Britain mugs, they send you straight to Agartha. So grab yourself one of those. I'm just gonna...
You come from a land down under, where women glow and men wonder. Can't you hear the thunder? Better run, better take cover.
We have had enough. This is our country. You are here as guests. You will be leaving as guests.
When the light fades, there's a high place that I go. In the night state, there's a heaven that I know. If you see me dream.
Wait. Go back one.
What do you say?
Bring his face up. Full screen.
His glasses.
There's a reflection.
That's the Nuevita's baseball team. That's their logo.
And he's talking to whoever's wearing that jacket.
We may have a witness.
To both shootings.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Prioritise Britain. I'm your host, Hugh Anthony, and we have a big show for you tonight. Lots to talk about. We're going to be going over the government's new leaflet manual to all asylum seekers on how to not rape, how to not catcall, how to not sexually assault, nor make people uncomfortable. Not just people, not just women, but children. Because apparently we need to be teaching these invaders how to not rape people, including their own partner, including children, how to not sexually assault people, how to understand what consent is in our country, because these are the exact type of people we are employing through the border. These are the people we're allowing to come over through the border. What says government funding? What says taxpayer money? Then the Home Office, Shabana Mahmood, printing out a bunch of leaflets that teaches an Afghanistani man or an Eritrean man or a Nigerian man that has just arrived here in Britain how to not rape somebody. Because you would think that maybe human beings would have a complex understanding of morality and understand that maybe I should not be trying to lust over a child. Or maybe I should ask for permission before trying to penetrate or involve myself sexually with somebody. But apparently, the foreigners that we need in this country for refugee purposes or for economic purposes, apparently they don't understand that. So the government is printing out leaflets. It sounds as ridiculous as it is. The government is printing out leaflets on how to teach these men to not rape. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm not living in the real world. Sometimes I look at this stuff, like I did when I read this yesterday, and I just think, what the fuck are we doing? Genuinely, what are we doing? We used to have like leaflets about like stranger danger and be wary about strangers, or about like health concerns, about make sure to check your body for lumps or check for cancerous tumors or any of that. But now instead it's don't rape. Rape is bad. This is what rape is. You may be getting a long time in jail if you rape somebody. I don't know. Have we gone crazy? But that's what they're spending our taxpayers' money on. Not only are we funding foreign wars, not only are we funding the invasion into our country, not only are we funding a big multinational Jewish business, we are also funding leaflets to tell brown people to not rape. Maybe if we did that earlier, maybe, I don't know, maybe the grooming gangs wouldn't have happened. I don't know, maybe the Eritrean migrant in Epping wouldn't have happened. Maybe the 250,000 girls wouldn't have happened. You think a leaflet's going to stop that? Number one, how are these people even going to read it? You're telling me these people that have the most broken English, they cannot comprehend a basic English sentence. They have the linguistic abilities of a disabled 3-year-old. You're giving them a leaflet and telling them don't rape. I got a better idea. How about don't let them in? I got a better idea. Instead of giving them free leaflets, instead of giving them lessons and allowing them to stay in our housing, the only thing the British taxpayer should be paying for, fully accosted by us, is free swimming lessons for migrants. I came up with this idea earlier, and I think it's genius. We go on all the time about we need to be paying for this and for that and for this, and we have a duty to pay. We should be paying for free swimming lessons. And let me explain why we'll pay for it. will use our taxpayer money to fund the Navy. They will pop the boat in the channel, and the second the boat is popped, that's when the swimming lesson begins. That's when it begins. I will be happy to give my taxpayer money to pay for migrants to learn how to swim in the sea. And look, I'm not going on about the stereotype that black people can't swim. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I will pay my own taxpayer money for free swimming lessons in the English Channel for all migrants. I think they would appreciate that. Leisure is good. Health exercise. It may be freezing, but also we go on about survival of the fittest, right? That's just nature. So I think that's the way forwards. Don't pay for leaflets. Don't give them more money when they clean up in their little hotels. Don't give them free phones or Adidas shoes or free lessons. None of that. Free swimming lessons. That would have. We do it to babies. You ever seen when somebody's thrown a baby in a pool and the baby starts like freaking out, splashing around, trying to get on its back to float? Let's just do that to a bunch of Africans and Arabs in the English Channel. What more could we be doing? We're helping them. We're beating the stereotype. They say blacks can't swim. Well, we'll give you a free lesson instead. And then they might be able to swim. Instead, we wait until they get here. And I saw a video of this as well. This is crazy. They're now using jet skis to pull them to us. And then when they get here, obviously, we give them blankets. We give them this space to stay in. And then we give them this fucking leaflet. And the leaflet just says, do not rape people. How many of them are going to do it? How many of them? We're going to have one for beheading as well. Do not behead people. Do not rape. Do not behead. Do not stab people with screwdrivers. Do not attack random dog walkers. We are a backwards country. We are a completely backwards country. But we'll talk all about that. I'll talk about the situation. I'll read you the news article. We'll kind of touch on the James Fishback situation over in America. Obviously, they had the primaries over in Florida. We're not going to touch massively on that because it's not really our subject matter. It's not really that important to us. But I think there are some things from that situation that translate back over here in Britain, especially regarding voter intention of younger people. I've got to say, we'll go into it in more detail, but James Fishback was overwhelmingly good at collecting younger voters. A lot of these college campuses, they all turned around and they voted for James Fishback 9-1. I think that is what we can translate here in Britain. I'll explain why that's happening across the Anglosphere, across the Western world. A candidate that was staunchly pro-America, America first, staunchly against Israel, very good at articulating himself regarding immigration stances, regarding things like flock, regarding things like funding, regarding things like constitutional rights, even to the point where he was talking about Byron Donaldson being lynched, and he just read the wave, attacking OnlyFans stars, whilst the Americans are attacking OnlyFans stars, whilst James Fishback is telling Sophie Rain that she'll pay 100% on income tax. What are we doing? What is Britain doing? Well, I'll tell you what Britain's doing. Channel 4, which is fully regulated by the government, by the way. It is a public-owned broadcasting network. Channel 4, they are not slamming down against these degenerate OnlyFans whores. What they're doing instead is they're employing them to sit on national television in a seductive manner with cleavage in your face, to put it bluntly, talking to you about climate change. Whilst the Americans are attacking OnlyFans degeneracy and attacking the big porn industry, which you will mainly know is Jewish, but attacking the big porn industry, here in Britain, we are using state funds to promote the OnlyFans stars to talk about climate change. It's like they're kind of rubbing it in your face. You know what I mean? They're rubbing it in your face. They're rubbing it in your face that they know that they control how you feel. They control your lust, they control the way you think, they control your urges, and they can drag that out of you and propaganda you into a way of thinking by playing on your lustful intentions, by giving you this addiction. I mean, you've got to think about the porn industry. Majorly addictive industry. You have loads of young guys that will grow up, young men and women grow up, they're watching porn from a young age, they get addicted to it very early on, they get an unrealistic expectation of sex, leads to them going out there being degenerate, being whores, trying to experiment, leads to very early pregnancies without any form of stability, which obviously plays into abortion. A very degenerate market, a market which is now seen, and this is what annoys me the most, so many young people turning to OnlyFans for a quick buck. And look, I think that's the fault of the industry being promoted and mainstreamed, but it's also the fault of capitalist societies trying to put economical pressure onto young people, so young people feel like they have to go out there and find a living, even if that means degrading themselves sexually and putting it online for strangers to see, and their body becomes their income and their sexual appeal becomes their income. So, I mean, the porn industry itself is the most grotesque, demonic industry that exists. And frankly, anybody involved in it should be arrested and shoved into jail for a long time, because the damage that that industry has done to our countries, the Western world, to families, to young people trying to go out there and start stable relationships, the damage that it has done to the minds of young people is so reprehensible and frankly, at the moment, unfixable, because it's going to take a long time to be able to get people off of these things. And the government are taking it upon themselves not only to fund it, but to enhance it, but to promote it. They are using government funds to promote pornography, and they're masking it under the guidance of climate change. And again, in all fairness, it's kind of like the Moss and Bailey fallacy that I was on about. They're using the porn industry, which is this horrendously radical idea, this complete degenerate idea, which is harming all of our kids, which is harming our youth. And they mask that behind climate change. And the message with climate change is we need a future of the planet. We cannot let our planet die. We cannot abuse our planet. It's this very mundane, very monographic idea that everyone should agree with. We all want a healthy planet. We all want to look after the planet. We all want the next generations to be able to inhabit the same planet that we have. This very base idea. But they're using that to then mask behind it pornography and to promote pornography. I think it was Lily Phillips that they were using. But this is what I'm saying. They're using these very baseline arguments, which people don't really argue about. We can debate the ideas of climate change. We can debate the ideas of the ozone layer or carbon output or for example, China outputting mass amounts of factories. We can debate that. Or we can sit and try and attack the pornography industry. And then what happens when you do that? And in all fairness, I don't think people want to admit this, but pornography is an effect of feminism as well. It's that liberation of the people. The sexual revolution came about in the 1970s. This was to the women of the Western world. And it mainly said to the women, you don't have to be stuck in these monogamous relationships from an early age and spend your entire life being a child robot pumping out children. You don't have to do that. Instead, you can go out there and be liberated. The sexual revolution was a liberal Marxist cultural idea which promoted women having the ability to go out there and be lustful and promiscuous and whores. And obviously the effect of that is it gave women this ego boost of wanting to go out and make the most of themselves and look pretty and look endearing and all of this, trying to lure attention to them. And the effect of that is that they were trying to go for the best thing they could find. And they wanted, like, I'm going to be lewd with this, but I'm going to be honest with this. They wanted the best thing they could find. They wanted to be searching for that 6-foot guy, 6-figure income, big muscles, big dick, that kind of thing. And the downfall of that is obviously all of these 6, 7, 8 women mainly 6 and 7s, but mainly 6 and 7s, they then set their boundaries way ahead of what they were capable of, which was 8s and 9s in men. So the 6 and the 7s in the men were trying to go for the women on their par that they were looks matching with. And they were saying, no, we don't want you. You're not good enough for us. You're not tall enough. You're not attractive enough. You're not built enough. You don't have as much money. And then they would try and go for somebody higher. And it's led to this kind of grudgement where men can't get women and women can't get the right men that they want. So now everyone's just whores and nobody's getting in stable relationships. And even to the men that do get the women, that do get the best women, well, women still exist in this idea that they don't have to settle, that they don't have to stay with somebody. And usually it's men that will go out there, and sure, you can have men that have like multiple wives and you can get men that are more promiscuous, but it's mainly women that do it. And that's what you see porn for. Well, if you look at the big female OnlyFans stars, like they're trying to promote on British television now, it's women. Women are the straight actors in the porn industry, unless you're people talking like Johnny Sins. But Johnny Sins is an anomaly. Most of the men, they have to queer bait, or they're in gay porn or that shit. But it's the women that are the porn stars. It's your Mia Khalifas, it's your Sophie Rain, it's your Lily Phillips. You know what I'm talking about? So it's the women that, even though they're in a relationship with a man, and it could be like the best looking man in the world, loads of money, that woman's still not going to be stable because she's been brought up in a society which is telling her that you don't have to be with this man. You can go get whatever you want. You can go have all of these men that will follow you online. They will like all of your lustful cleavage pictures online, and they'll pay you hundreds, thousands to do that. So these women think, well, I don't need to stay with you. Look what happened with Kanye West. Kim Kardashian didn't need to do that. The only reason Kim Kardashian was ever famous in the first place is because she was a whore. Is because of a sex tape. But that's what happens with women. And it's not every woman, of course, but this is the societal knock-on effect of things like the 1970s sexual revolution. And even like Kim Kardashian, she leaves. Every woman will leave. They all can leave because they've been drilled into their head that they can always go and search more. Search for more. Every time. And it's a sad reality, but we live in a world where women aren't loyal. Women are not going to stay with you anymore. And men know that. Men don't trust them. That's why you saw the rise of people like Andrew Tate. That's why you see people like Clavicula. And really, Clavicula shows that. And I have my opinions about Clavicula, but when you see him on the clips that I see on Twitter, and you've got these women that come up to him and they're like, I've got a boyfriend, but you can have me. Well, he's showing something that people don't want to comprehend, and that's that nobody's loyal anymore. And that disregard of stability and relationships has been pushed forward and propagandized by the porn industry, which is owned by mass amounts of Jews, or by our governments, which, like Channel 4, will promote it. And they promote it under the guidance of, we're talking about climate change. We're not being sexual degenerates. We're talking about climate change. Or we're promoting feminism, and we're promoting liberation, or it's body positivity. Or it's breaking the social norms about gender roles. That's what it is. So when I saw that, I just thought, well, you are just, again, promoting this degenerate market, which has seen the destruction, really, of relationships in the Western world over the last 50, 60 years. And it's disappointing. It's sad. It's annoying. It's really annoying because I mean, how many young guys do you think just completely addicted at this point? It must be millions. And it's a demonic industry which is being promoted by these demonic forces. So People got to stay stronger. You got to stay stronger. Don't turn on Channel 4 and see Lily Phillips and think, fuck, maybe I should care about climate change. Don't do it. They're trying to play on you. They're trying to prey on your lust. There's a reason it's one of the deadly sins. Turn your biblical eyes away. Turn to Christ. And again, I guess this is really the point, is since Western society has moved away from Christ, from religion, that's really been the downfall. This cult of individualism and this cult of liberation has really been the downfall of Western society. We are supposed to follow the rules of God, the teachings of God, because they are good. I mean, look, even if you don't believe in the Bible, even if you're not a believer in Christ, it's undeniable that everything that Christ teaches is good for society. It's undeniable that the teachings against the 7 deadly sins are good for society. Not being lustful, not being prideful, going against gluttony. It's good for society. You could be a pagan, you could be an atheist, but you must still comprehend what the Bible does tell you to do with your life. Be fruitful and multiply. It talks about marriage being between a man and a woman, that it's your role as an individual to go off and carry on your generations. They talk about this idea of community. They also put forward harsh rules about a nation should be ruled by the sword. It's undeniable that the Bible does teach good lessons, and that the biblical teachings that we have turned away from are what actually put forward this sense of morality in society, whereas now morality is being so muddled that there is no strong consensus of what it actually means anymore. People make it up themselves. They think, well, as long as I'm not hurting anybody, but you are. I hear this argument all the time. As long as I'm not hurting anybody. But if you are a sexual degenerate that is exploiting yourself for financial gain, well, you are hurting people. You are ignoring the duty of your bloodline, which is to carry it on. And when you do eventually carry it on, you cause embarrassment for your kids. You are harming yourself. It is a form of harm because you are degrading yourself to being nothing more than a financial incentive, not an individual. You are completely destroying the image of what you are as a human being. You're no longer an individual. You are now an idea. You're an idea, but a lustful idea. So you really are still hurting people. I hate that idea. I hate this stupid notion. As long as you're not hurting anybody. But what does that mean? Well, what does that mean? Because what you output may have massive psychological damage on people, like young men. It may have massive psychological damage on these young men. So you are hurting people. It may have knock-on effects on your future life, on your future kids, on your future husband, whatever. And you are hurting yourself. How many people get to the end of it and they think, I wish I never did that? Obviously, you don't know that when you're young. You just see money coming into your bank account. You think, oh, this is great. I used to know a lot of people that did OnlyFans. And I always said to them, I just said, why? I said, why? What do you get out of that? Why is that good? Why do you feel like you need to do that? And to them, it was, oh, I earn a lot of money. I can live sustainably. I can go where I want. I can do what I want. I can go on holiday. I've got this nice house now. I live in a nice flat. I get to live in the middle of Manchester. I get to live in the middle of London. It was that idea of what we can do whatever we want. And that's why I'm saying, really, the downfall of society is this idea of radical individualism. This radical individualism has led to people no longer having purpose. It's kind of what I spoke to David Clues about the other week, where I was saying that young people don't have purpose. There is no purpose. They just think that economics is now everything because they've been brought up in a society that promotes no ideas. It promotes nothing for the future. They just exist in a realm of trying to earn money, of existing in society's economical zone. So, what is going on? Total Weimar. Total fucking Weimar, honestly. Weimar times. Weimar times require Weimar solutions. Because we're in a dead zone right now. We are in a dead zone right now. And Weimar Times, they've gone too far. They've gone too far, honestly. Burn the books. Burn the books. We need Nuremberg trials 2.0. Traitors need to be sent to jail. Anybody involved in degeneracy needs to be thrown into a fucking prison cell. We're getting to the point. We are getting to the point where I'm losing it, all right? I'm fucking losing. How much more until I join like White Vanguard and I start joining them with throwing up rope? That's a joke. But how much longer until I lose it and I'm like, fuck it, Mecha Hitler's coming back? No, I'm joking. But how much longer? Because when our own government is funding the porn industry and promoting it to the masses on national television, I can't take it anymore. I hate these people. I don't want to hate these people. I don't want to hate these people. You know what I mean? I want to be a civilized man. I don't like getting cortisol spiked. But then I see this shit and I'm just thinking, oh, I'm thinking, let's just get rid of this crap. Let's just get rid of this crap. You know what I mean? How much more can we take? How much more can we take before we just go, you know what? You know what? Maybe Hitler wasn't enough. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I am joking. I'm being sarcastic, but you know what I mean? Anyway, before we get into the actual show, that was a bit of a rant. Before we get into the actual show, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss whenever I go live. We are live Monday to Friday, 7:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. on YouTube, X, and Rumble. So you can find me on all of those different platforms. I'm a little bit dressed down today. Can you guys notice? I gotta say, I've been enjoying it. It's been a little bit cooler this week. It was raining today. I'm glad. As an Anglo man, I quite like the brisk winds and the little drizzle of rain. And it was raining today, and I went out earlier to the shop. I actually went to McDonald's. I know. Go slob. Yeah, it's my first time being to McDonald's in like a month and a half, 2 months. All right, shut up. I went to McDonald's and I put my hat on. I put the Britain Lives hat on because it's like undercover. Put the hoodie on. Put the Parasite t-shirt on. And I went to McDonald's. So I walked in, 20 chicken nuggets, double cheeseburger, a raspberry and Sprite, casual meal. And I could just tell, I was like, I look swagger right now. I look great. And that's what the merch does for you. The merch it's actually been selling really well. People are picking up the quarter zips. Quarter zips are going quite quickly. People are still excited for the Spurgs Wars. You can find all of those as well. PrioritiseBritain.shop/shop. It is the first link in the bio. I don't know. I feel like sometimes it doesn't always need to be the suit. It can be the oversized zip-up hoodie. It can be the shirt. It can be the hat. If I put the hat on backwards, then I'm like, I'm a young wigger. I'm a young nigger. I'm the youngest nigger there is. No, I don't like doing that. I feel like when you do that, I feel like anyone that does that's a retard. That's like genuine. You see like young wiggers, but I walked into McDonald's earlier, right? Fully dripped out in the merch, and I was ordering my McDonald's. Everyone in my McDonald's is like foreign, and these three guys walking, like young guy. I'm talking like 12 years old, and these were real wiggers. These were real wiggers, and I walk in. And these three kids, like genuine children, dripped out in like Nike fleece, tracksuits, whatever. And they all walk in and they go up to the counter and they start like making loud noises and whatnot. And I just see, they just all pull out vapes. And I just look, and I'm with my friend. And I look at my friend, I look at these kids, and they're all just sat there vaping, and they're like 12 years old. And I'm just like, what? Like, how? Okay, look, it was different back in the day. You're talking like chimney sweepers used to like have a fag. But now you're talking about like every fucking kid is puffing on like watermelon ice. I thought they were banned. Do you understand why I want fascism? Like, do you understand why I want fascism? Get mad at me all you like. Get mad at me. I don't care. I don't care. Get mad. Do you understand why I want fascism? Do you understand why I'm sick of it now? Porn industry is being promoted. Kids are vaping. Everyone's a sexual degenerate. We've had like shit tons of pride festivals over the last month. And all I keep seeing is like weird people in dog masks. And now we're giving migrant rape leaflets. Do you see why the fuck I want fascism? Like, we just need to go from 0 to 100 at this point. We do. We really do. Can we even do the whole like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 onwards? Can we even go the 10% at a time? Or do we just rock it? Do we just rock it all the way up? Because I'm just thinking, like, what kind of parents? And these are white kids. These are white kids. I'm just thinking, what kind of parents do you have? What kind of parents do you have if your parents are letting you vape at the age of 12? Really? Like, this is why I do genuinely think, and this is going to sound harsh, but also I don't really care. I genuinely think, if I was in charge, people said, Hugh, what would you do if you were in charge? I'll tell you what I would do. If I was in charge, there would be police in every single city. Obviously, you're not going to get mass deportations straight away. But there'll be police in every single city, every single town, just patrolling the streets. And every single crime would be dealt with the full force of the law. I think that's the way you have to do it. I think that's the best way you have to do it. I know that sounds harsh, that sounds authoritarian. Oh, well, we live in radical times, deal with radical solutions. I would genuinely have the police roaming up and down every single street, and anybody breaking any law, if it's kids vaping, if it's somebody littering, if it's somebody being antisocial, if it's somebody leering, throw them in the back of a van, shove them to jail, shove them to a cell, go and write up a report, give them a criminal record. I think, look, the reason it doesn't work now, the reason why people get away with all this shit is because we're not policing the right things. You know what I mean? Like, people get away with shoplifting, they get away with car burglary, they get away with all of this stupid crime. Even like assaults. I've been punched in the face before and the police just went, the CCTV was shit, couldn't find them. It's like, why was there not police on that street? Then the crime would go down. People say stop and search is racist. Don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't think that we should be nicer when it comes to stop and search. I actually think we should be stopping every single person that looks even slightly suspicious. I don't care if that is racial profiling. I don't care. Every single person that even looks slightly suspicious should be stopped and they should be searched. We have an uptake in knife crime. How many more times do you have to see somebody stabbed in a park in London? We absolutely should be doing that. Absolutely. Every single one. The police should be going around and targeting anybody that they think is suspicious, anybody that commits even a small crime, even if it's a small fine, who cares? Because really, the only way that we fix it, the only way that we fix these situations is through zero tolerance policing. And I know people don't want to hear that, but what other solution you got? I know people say, Hugh, you're too harsh. Hugh, you say all these things, but it's far over the mark. Is it? I think that's perfectly reasonable. I think there is nothing wrong with me saying that. I think if that's what it takes to get this country in a better situation than we find ourselves, then so be it. So be it. Going over the speed limit, pull them over. Check them for drink driving. Check them for drugs, search the car. Somebody littering on the street, throw them in the back of a van. Give them a record. Somebody graffiti on a wall, throw them in the back of a van. Give them a record. You're not going to get anywhere. Genuinely, we're not going to get anywhere where if we have this system where we just give people a slap on the wrist. We just turn a blind eye to certain things. They are so, the reason, like, put it like this, right? The reason people are so concerned about speech laws is because they clamp down on speech laws massively. What's the one thing everybody hears? Well, we don't want to say that because I might lose my job. Somebody might ring the police on me. I don't want to tweet that because somebody might report me and the police might come over. I don't want to have to deal with law enforcement. I don't want to be arrested for an opinion. The reason that they've done so well on preventing speech and preventing people from expressing certain opinions is because they have clamped down so harsh on it. That's why they're arresting people for posts during COVID. That's why they were arresting people for tweeting memes that they found grossly offensive. That's why even like the reform councillor up in Durham is now facing a magistrate's court because he tweeted about melting down Nigerians as a clearly hyperbolic joke. But the reason they got away with it, and the reason now people are so scared to speak up, is because they're scared about the effects of speaking up. Now imagine if you had that exact same thing if it was stop and search, and you stopped and searched everybody, or if it was graffitiing or littering or kids vaping or public drunkenness or anything like that. Imagine if you were that extra bit stricter where everything was enforced against. You could make people fall into line. People do fall into line. People really fall into line with a lot of things. The only reason people are so willing to break the law regarding these things is because we don't do anything about it. But we need to, and these kids shouldn't have been vaping. I know I've just turned like a little story into a 10-minute rant, but these kids shouldn't have been vaping. And I guarantee you, if the police had walked by and they'd seen them under my jurisdiction and they had gone in and they had arrested these children for vaping, I guarantee you they wouldn't do that again. And I guarantee you their friends wouldn't do that again. And their parents wouldn't allow that to be promoted. So, anyway, I've just been fantasizing about fascism today, I can't lie. I've just been fantasizing about fascism today. That's why I am where I am right now. That's why I am where I am. But, hey, look, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea, but anyway, the point of the story was I saw kids vaping. I wasn't a fan of it, but I was dripped out in the merch. So automatically my aura points are way better than these little wiggers. The little wiggers vaping. The little bit wiggers vaping. Let's actually get into the news. I do want to talk about this. So as of yesterday, the Home Office has released a detailed plan of multiple different pages talking to migrants, refugees, on how to not rape. That's right. The government is now going to be giving these migrants a booklet on how to not rape, how to not sexually assault, what is a crime, the legal age of consent, talking about things like don't rape your kids, don't rape your wife, don't attack your wife, don't sexually assault your wife. A lot of crazy things, that you really wouldn't expect in the modern day, in the 21st century. But let me read you the news report that came out regarding this situation. This is This is from the Sky News website. It says a guide for asylum seekers published by the Home Office has told them to not rape or sexually harass people, including partners and children. The document tells people arriving in the UK after fleeing other countries that women are allowed to, quote, earn their own money. I wonder who that's directed at. And, quote, make their own decisions about their lives. Men appear to be the primary target for the instructions. I wonder why. Although there are also resources for asylum seekers who think they may have been victims of illegal behavior. Talking about, for example, the migrants that get raped in Calais. Do you remember those 3 girls that were found, the 3 female bodies that were found that washed up from the English Channel about 2 weeks ago? And now the autopsy determines that they were attacked and raped. It's because these men actually are just sexual deviants. It's because if you look at the people that are coming over, I think it was Lee Anderson who was in Calais, and there was a migrant there. I think he was Somalian. Very aggressive Somalian man. Big lips, big forehead, horrible hairline, like the rest of them. Alien. And And he was saying to Lee Anderson that he's coming to UK. He was saying, like, fuck you. He said, I'm just there to fuck. Obviously not fleeing a war. Obviously no form of, like, actual incentive for any form of stability or any form of integration or respect for our country. They just want to come over here and, well, have sex with our people. It's quite a common thing, to be honest with you. People don't realize this. When I was in Manchester last year, there's a place called Tent City near the city centre, and it's where a bunch of asylum seekers who were offered housing rejected it because they were offered a flat and they wanted an actual house. So instead, they go live in these tents in this one little area of Manchester, and it's called Tent City. And I was talking to one of the migrants, and they were making it very clear that they are here for the drugs, they are here for the alcohol, and they're here for the women. Because a lot of them come from fairly conservative countries, be it North Africa, be it the Middle East, where they have extremely strict religious practices, which tell them, obviously, don't do this. You can't indulge yourselves in haram. You can't indulge yourselves in degeneracy. You have to have a wife and be loyal to your wife and raise a family, and we'll arrange the marriage, which is why they're saying women have the ability to choose what they do. So they come here instead because they want to experience the life of liberation. They want to experience a life of Western liberal values, which is degeneracy. So they come here, they become drug addicts, they go out there looking for sex, and obviously a lot of them want the sex more than they care about the repercussions of going to get the sex. So they'll go out there and they'll rape people. They'll go out there and they'll target drunk girls on the way from a night out. Or they'll target young girls in parks, or singular girls that are caught alone at night, like the woman that was raped in Brighton, and it'll be a gang of them and they'll rape them. Or it'll be a drunk individual in the middle of Birmingham. I think it was a video from Birmingham, or it might have been Wolverhampton last year, where she left the club, she was followed by a migrant and then raped, or they follow them home and they break into their house and then they rape them. And obviously, we've been saying for a long time, this is an issue. We've been saying that for a long time, there are higher rates of rape from these migrants. Even the Home Office in 2024, via a Freedom of Information request, came out and they said, look, foreign nationals are 71% more likely to be convicted of a sexual offence compared to a British national. So we've known for a while that these people coming in are a bigger threat to our people. And even if the Green Party want to sit there and tell us that there is no statistic that offers that illegal migrants are at a higher risk of hurting our people than a native Brit, they were going, there's no evidence of that. But I mean, if the government feels obliged to print out booklets, leaflets, documents, and openly state that there is a higher risk and that these people need to be taught to not involve themselves with these forms of sexual crimes, to not go out there and rape people. Well, there's two questions that need to be asked. One, why is this not being dealt with? And two, why do we keep letting them back into the country? If we know that these people are coming over in droves, and they are sexual degenerates, and they are violent, and they are thugs, and they are drug dealers, and they are criminals, why do we continue to let them back into our country? Why do we not take the state, which the primal duty of the state is to look after the people? Why do they not enact any form of wartime law as what would be classed as an invasion and a threat to the public good? Why do we not enact anything to look after our own people? Instead, we sit there and allow it to continue to happen. And we promote it happening by people like Andy Burnham coming out and saying that everybody in the country should do their fair share of taking in migrants, saying it shouldn't just be the poor areas, but it should be the middle class to rich areas, the leafy areas in the countryside. And sure, we can make the arguments about, well, they are the ones that vote Lib Dem, they're the ones that vote Green, or they're the ones that vote Labour, and they don't understand the problem. But I also make the point to you, there'll be many voters in those areas that do vote for the Conservative. They do vote for reform. They do care about the migration issue. is it right to allow for those people to have to suffer as well? Is that the morally correct situation to do? I think that's a bad situation. I think that is exactly the kind of politics that leads to us having this absolute destruction throughout the country. They're already talking about, people like Tamara Finkelstein are already talking about the diversity into the countryside. And what do you think becomes the diversity? Obviously, it's these illegal migrants that get put up in RAF bases in tiny little villages. Because 5 years down the line, these people are going to be legalized. They're going to have a permanent right to stay here. And if that's the case, then they become legal migrants. And then they can leave the RAF base and start becoming part of that village, taking over that village. So even that is a terrible idea. And obviously we can't just say, well, just stop the boat, because that's just not going to happen. They're not going to do that. If they were going to do that, they would have done that by now. There is a major backlog when it comes to asylum claims. Because everybody in the UK has a right to appeal, you have the right to an inquiry. Because of the way that our legal system and legal framework is set up, all of these migrants that come over here have to go through processes to ensure that their asylum claim can be carried on or rejected. So you can't just remove somebody that's here unless there is a valid reason to, like they've gone and stabbed somebody or they've sexually assaulted somebody. There is no way to deport these people. So we have to do the asylum claims, and the asylum claims were actually defunded by the Tories. So we have to do all of these asylum claims, and it's massively backlogged because it was defunded by the Tories. And since then, we've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds more come in every single week. So we're at this situation where we have these thousands of migrants, estimated 2 million illegal migrants in this country, who have come over and are currently on the process of signing up for asylum. And we cannot deport them because we're only a chunk through the processes. And those that we do say, no, you can't stay here, well, what do? We have legal advisement teams that will give them advice on how to remain in the country. They will tell them, we'll say that you're gay. They will say, we'll say that you can't eat these chicken nuggets, or you're a political prisoner, or if you go back, you want a high chance of being targeted by the law enforcement. So we have to let these people stay here. And when it gets to deportations, well, they just claim that we can't. They say it goes against our human rights. And because we're signed up to the ECHR, because we have the Equalities Act, because we have the Human Bill of Rights, because we're part of the 1948 Refugee Convention, because we're part of all of these different things, we can't just deport these people. So we end up in a situation where we are spending so much taxpayer money, funding for their housing, trying to deal with the backlog of asylum processes, trying to deal with the millions that are already here and keep them all restrained in certain areas. And then we can't deport them. And then we try to deport them. The human rights lawyers, the activist groups, the amnesty groups, they all come forwards and they say, well, you can't deport them because of this human right. Or their solicitors tell them, well, so claim this, claim that you're gay, claim that you don't like this food, claim that you're under persecution, claim that you have different religious beliefs, claim that you have anxiety. And they help them stay in the country and avoid the fair process of deportations. And when they are in the country again and they can appeal it and it gets rejected, well, years down the line, when it's still backlogged, because we still have migrants in this country that have been here for the last 4 or 5 years, years down the line, when it gets to this situation, well, they just become permanent residents. They're allowed to stay in the country. They can apply and say, well, I've already been here for 5 years. I've already been here for 10 years. I want to settle here. And because of the way that our system is set up, we allow them to stay here. We give these migrants who will never integrate, who will never be part of us, who don't like the way that we live, who are only here for their own sexual deviancy, for their own indulgence, for their own economic gains. We give these migrants the ability to remain here, and we pay for it. And whilst we know they're a danger, whilst we know that they commit rape at a higher chance, whilst we know that they commit violent crime at a higher percentage, whilst we know that they are violent thugs and animals, instead of doing anything about it, instead of repealing certain acts, instead of removing certain conventions or certain treaties, instead of prescribing certain charities that promote this invasion, well, what do? We give them our taxpayer money and then print off a leaflet just saying, hey guys, don't rape. You have to be crazy. You have to think we've gone mad. If we're at this situation where we are paying these people to tell them, do not rape us. And this is really where my grievance comes into it. And I think this is where a lot of people are becoming more radicalized on this thing. Obviously, it started with the boats. That's what everybody was concerned about. I think everybody in this sphere mainly started on illegal migration. We saw the vast sways of dinghies coming over the channel, over from France into Dover. And we critiqued it. We said, well, that's not right. That's not safe. Obviously, lack of documentation, knowing who these people are, no way to track where these people are. The government's already admitted to losing hundreds of people and not having a record of where they are. We said, well, obviously, that's not safe. None of us are going to sit here and agree that that should be here in the country. None of us are going to sit here and promote that idea of this swarm of foreign men. That's what they are, foreign men. The government even admits that 92% of them are foreign men above the age of 18. We do not want this large sway of people in this country. That's where we all started. And then we started seeing things like the grooming gangs. Then we started seeing this Pakistani-led gang raping 250,000 British white girls. And then we started seeing things like Pakistan refusing to take them back, saying, no, we're not going to take it back. We're not going to take the ringleader back. We're not going to let you deport him to us. And then we started seeing things like Alum Rock, where they were spray painting on the walls, no whites after 8 p.m. Then we started seeing things like the big Islamic denomination that was taking place in Warwick. I think it was Warwickshire. And people started going, well, hold on a minute. They're not boat people. The hotels and the boats are bad. And obviously you've got massive, big business that is investing in the hotels and that is earning a profit out of hosting these illegal migrants. You had the big Jewish billionaire that called himself the king of asylum hotels, he ruled the Britannia hotels. And he had all of these different hotels. We had all of that. And people were like, okay, that's bad. That's really bad. But then people were looking at their hometowns. They were looking at their villages. They were looking at their schools. And they were looking around and going, well, hold on a minute. These people clearly are not from the boat. Abdul over here is not from the boat. Mohammed over here is not from the boat. Singh over here is not from the boat. And they started questioning it. And we started looking at the foreign crime that was being imported into our country. And we started looking at the rise of rape since the early 2000s, which were originally about 7,000 a year. Now it's 73,000 a year. We started looking at the rise of violent crime in places like London and the sectarian violence. We started seeing people like the Greens employing people like Moffat Ali, who were talking about Gaza and Allahu Akbar when they won their election. I mean, even today, it's the complete stupidity, the complete weird alliance between the trannies and the Greens is you had the person that runs Stats for Lefties, with all the polling data. She's this weird, like, tranny thing. I don't know what she is. And she's now, like, one of the leading spokesperson for the Green Party. And she put at the end of it, like, inshallah, we'll win. I'm like, they're going to throw you off a fucking building, you stupid fat kike. Like, what dyke. Sorry, she's not Jewish. wait, that slipped. But you know what I mean? You stupid fat dyke. That slipped. It's over. You know what? Fuck it. I said nigger before. I don't care. But you know what I mean? This weird alliance, and we were like, hold on a minute. We started seeing all of that. And then we were like, well, this is not illegal migration. There's nothing illegal about this. This is legal migration. And we wonder why we're getting into a situation of the youth becoming radicalized. We wonder why the youth is turning their heads now away from the status quo, away from the liberal mechanisms which has led to the downfall of our country. And we have now began to become more extreme in our opinions. And a good example of this, like I was going to touch on, is James Fishback. I think everybody here will have seen James Fishback. He's had a wonderful media presence. He's been very strong on his media presence. And if you really look at the data, I think it was inevitable. Anybody knew that he was going to lose to Byron Donaldson. Everyone knew that he was going to lose to Byron. But if we actually look at it, and we look at James Fishback, well, what did he do? He ran a very thought-out, hard campaign. He was doing rally after rally after rally. The energy was insane. It was crazy energy. He was phoning up undecided callers. He was doing interviews with undecided callers. He was going out to meet the young people on their campuses. He was doing things like going on Tinder and starting his profile on there to find people. He was going out of his way to connect with the voters. He was going out of his way to find those voters that were once not involved in politics, but specifically the young people. And I just want to make this clear for anybody saying that, well, he failed, it was a terrible campaign. Let's be real about this. No, he didn't. It was not a bad campaign at all. Byron's campaign was endorsed by Donald Trump. They had £200 million in donations. He already had £100 million, sorry, in the bank. He was always going to win that. The boomers of the region were always going to vote for Byron over James because, as I've already stated many times before, the boomers still exist in the olden days. They still exist in the generational voting where they think that what we're talking about is economics. They think that when we're talking about America first, or we're talking about Britain first, we're talking about any of that, they think it's economics. Nigel Farage is a perfect example about that. He talks about Britain's going to become a third world country. He means economically. We're talking via immigration. And I think this is where the big message has been lost. It's not just Israel. I think people make this mistake. When I'm talking about prioritizing Britain, I'm talking about putting Britain to the forefront of everything that we do. When I'm talking about the removal of foreign subversion, I'm not just talking about, well, Parliament needs to just look after itself. I'm not just talking about the EU. I'm talking about removing these foreign forces, removing the foreign people that are dictating our legislation from inside of Parliament. I'm not just going against Israel, because what we do is we make this mistake where we side with these people like the left. Like I keep saying, you can't side with the left. And people keep siding with the left, and they're saying, but they agree with us on Israel, even if we disagree on immigration. And they'll side with these people. They'll say, well, hold on a minute, we can be third worldist. And I'm like, no, you have a fundamental disagreement to what we believe is going to prioritize Britain. You may agree with us when it comes to the foreign subversion via Israel, but you disagree when it comes to the understanding about the attack against immigration, about the understanding of our attack against feminism, our attack against the LGBT community, our attack against all of these different sectors. It is not just we disagree on Israel. And this is what people have made the mistake of. When they saw a candidate like James Fishback, they would hear him talk about Israel and think that was it. But James Fishback was fluent on everything else. He was good at understanding the immigration issue. He was good at understanding the demographic issue. He was good at communicating the Israel issue. But he was also good at understanding the economical issues of the young people that have been disadvantaged through cheap labor. He was good at discussing things like flock cameras, things like Palantir, things like the AI advancements, things like AI taking jobs. He was good at explaining all of these different regions. And that's fundamentally why he was a good candidate. That is fundamentally why he was a strong candidate and why he managed to pull in over 10% of the vote. But people make the mistake where they take young people and they think everything's due to an anti-Israel point of view. That is not true. When I'm sat here and I'm talking about Israel and I'm talking about the foreign lobbyists and I'm talking about Dr. Alan Mendoza and Philip Ulfman and Jason Perlman and Claudia Mendoza, when I'm talking about that, it is not my only talking point. And people make the mistake that because I'm willing to talk about Israel, they think that we're on the same side. And that's what somebody like James really showed people is, no, we're still not on the same side. We still, just because you may agree against the foreign subversion, you're not on the side of actually prioritizing our countries. And this is why I think he got so far, is because he unapologetically spoke about immigration. He unapologetically promoted free speech. He didn't disavow people. He sat there on a platform of pushing forward what should be done to protect the sovereignty and the protection of not only our countries, but the native people of those lands. That is why he was a good candidate. That is why he polled at 10%. That is why, if you look at the campuses, entire campuses flipped to James Fishback. He won 9 out of 10 votes on so many different campuses. Donaldson, Byron, had to spend about $67 for one vote, whereas James spent $3 for one vote. That's crazy in comparison. Because the young people of our generation, the young people of our countries, America, Canada, Britain, France, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, every single white Western country, the young people of these countries, they fundamentally can comprehend the issues that we have. And the issue that we have is not an economical issue. It's not just an economical issue. It's not just foreign subversion. It's not just immigration. It's not just the degeneracy and liberalization of our media and of our education system. It's all of it. Fundamentally, it's all of it. And they want people to stand there on a stage and say that. They don't want to be boxed into certain regions. They don't want to have to deal with a certain area, but then ignoring a completely different area. People get concerned about my influence. I get this all the time in British politics. You guys don't see all of it because it happens behind the scenes. But I was sat having dinner with one of my friends down in London who works for Reform, and he was like, you know, we can never be seen together in public. Like, if it was caught on camera. I said, yeah, I know. And he was like, we were having this conversation about what I do and why people like Faraz don't like that. It's like, I get the young people. I am a young guy. I grew up in the same times as these people. I've seen the demographic replacement of my own areas. Nobody wants to sit there and import 2 million Indians and pretend like it's fine. Not a single young person is fine with that. We all understand that. People say to me, Hugh, why are you so brazen with your language? Why do you say things like nigger? Why do you sit there and make Holocaust jokes? It's to show that I don't care. It's to show that there is no watering down my opinions. My opinions are the opinions of a young man that's witnessed these things. My opinions are the opinions of a man that has witnessed the destruction of my people. My opinions are reflected by so many of the... You wonder why I go viral on Instagram. Instagram yesterday, where we had a viral video. TikTok yesterday, we had a viral video. I was being sexist in those videos. It still went viral. Loads of support. I've now gone up hundreds more followers. You wonder why I go viral on Twitter, even though I can sit there and have a debate in the middle of Sheffield about race to somebody. It's because I don't care. It's because I'm being honest. I'm being realistic. And people look at that and they go, you know what, I agree. And that's what the young people want. That is really the ingredients for a young voice. It's somebody that just doesn't care. We've been told to care so much about what we say and not breaking boundaries. And I grew up in the golden age of cancel culture. When I was growing up, I still remember people like PewDiePie saying nigger on a bus whilst playing PUBG, and everyone tried to like throw him off the internet. I remember multiple people being thrown off the internet for saying nigger. And now it's like, I can sit on my live show and say it to you guys, and I don't give a fuck. And a lot of people don't. It's because we've moved into a period where we don't care about your rules anymore. We don't care about what you think is acceptable anymore. We don't care about your approval anymore. We are not trying to be like you. We are not trying to follow your status quo. We are not trying to follow your structure. We do not want the same that you've been giving us time after time, year after year, decade after decade. We've been promised new things time and time and time and time again. We were promised new things with things like Brexit. Nigel Farage was supposed to be our big guy. We were supposed to have new opportunities for young people. We were supposed to secure our future. And we fell for it again. We fell for it again. We didn't get that after all. Young people were sold a lie. We were pushed further and further and further down. And now look where we are. We're in a situation where somebody like Fishback will gain 10% of the vote, running on specifically a solid America First platform. And he will gain 1/10 of all voters in that
region. And when the boomers begin to die off and begin to retire, that vote share only increases. And that is the point. And that is the factor, that is the knock-on effect. That is the foundational principles of what happens when you reject your own people for so long and you allow us to be beaten down for so long. This is the effect of people like Burnham thinking that the way to deal with rapey migrants is to give them a leaflet and for us to turn around and go, what the fuck is this? That is the effect of our towns and our cities now no longer representing the native people. This is the effect of telling us that you can't say these words or you must apologize for being white. I still find it bizarre that there are people that walk around after 2020 when they had a blacked out profile picture, taking the knee, apologizing for being white, apologizing about Derek Chauvin, apologizing about all of these things. They still walk around as if nothing ever happened. They just pretend like they were never a goy. They just pretend like they were never entrapped into this idea of this white guilt. I'll tell you what I was doing as a kid when that thing was happening. People say Hugh only just came to his political opinions. Hugh has no idea. Hugh's brand new into the political scene. Well, that's just not true. I'll tell you this. When I was a kid watching the BLM riots happening in America, I was cheering on the National Guard. I remember having a debate with my friend who was a communist. Dead now. Not my fault, by the way, just naturally. But I imagine you wouldn't be a communist anymore. But they were a communist, and we were having this debate, and they were like, "Oh, this is terrible. It's police. It's this racial policing." I said, "No." I said, "America's a white country." I said they shouldn't be able to act like animals. I said, if you're going to disobey the law, if you're going to resist cops, if you're going to treat the blue like enemies, well, they are going to enact the law on you. And if that means you fuck around and find out, well, then too bad. When they were making sanctuary cities in Chicago and San Francisco, when they were going around and looting stores and burning cars and chasing people, and they were getting shot for it, I said, you know what? Fuck around, find out. Frankly, this is a white country. This is a Western country. You are here as guests. You are here in a privileged land. Act like it. Otherwise, when you try and rebel against it, when you try and destroy it, you are going to be dealt with. And if that means that the police take it into their own hands to stop the threats on the streets, stop the violence on their streets, well, you found out. Like what was happening with the ICE agent over in America a few months ago, like Renee Gold. And everyone was like, Renee Good, sorry, and everyone was like, you can't do that. Well, maybe don't fucking try and run the cop over. How about that? But that is the level that I've been at for years now, where I've just been like, this is ridiculous. And people are catching up. People are catching up strongly. People are catching up strongly. And I've even seen it in the last few years. A lot of people that were walking around once as liberals, a lot of people I know that were once liberals, walking around being very flamboyant in their opinions, being like, oh, who cares, that kind of thing. And they are now fully on my side. They're like, you know what, Hugh, you were just ahead of it. You got it. I was like, yeah. Welcome to the correct side. This is what we were saying. And that's why young people are more radical. And that's why people like James Fishback are doing very well. And that's why, frankly, what you'll see over the next 10 years is more candidates like James Fishback start to arise, start to make a public profile. They come out of nowhere and they start building up that public profile. They become fluent in our talking points. They become fluent in being able to put forward these ideas and being able to preach to the masses and gain mass support about these things. And eventually, we will end up in a situation where our people are able to vote for our candidates. But the most important thing is about getting our candidates inside of these establishments ready for that situation, ready to help push the ball to get it rolling. And James Fishback's a perfect example about that. He's a perfect example that there are many guys out there that will be able to do that, will be able to run for those kind of things. And really now is the time, and this is what I'm saying, now you can begin to see the cultural and social shift. when it comes to the right wing and the direction of travel that we're finding ourselves in. Now is really the time to start following into politics. If you're a young guy, start going into politics. Start putting this as an opportunity to go. It's not even difficult. People always say to me, I keep getting messages, Hugh, what can I do? How can I get involved? A lot of people I talk to that are now involved in reform and are staffers and all of this, a lot of the young guys that I talk to, they were once involved in their local youth branch. I know a lot of people involved in youth branch, the young conservatives, the young reformers, the young restorers. Get involved in one of those. Go down to your local meeting. You have the benefit of a load of these institutions already built up. You can go and find them. If you're at uni, I mean, I've met with multiple different presidents of young conservative groups and young reform groups inside of unis. Go talk to them. Go join them. Go join one of these teams. Go network. That's the important thing. That's what I needed to get onto. Network. That is the most important thing you can do. Everybody will have heard the phrase. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's so true. It's so true. Knowing people gets you further than being smart. Look at most of our politicians. They are fucking stupid. You're telling me people like Diane Abbott are smart, really? They are fucking stupid. But the reason they get there is because of who they know. The reason they get there is because they have friends in Parliament. They have friends that are the donors, that are the lobbyists, that are involved inside of these civil servants and are involved as the staffers. Go and meet these people. Go and talk to these people. Go to your local branch organization. Go join one of these societies in universities. Frequently, these societies have people inside of their societies, their universities, giving speeches. They get big reform individuals inside of it. Even like Jack Addiston, or Jacob Rees-Mogg makes appearances at places like Bath and Somerset. You can go meet these people. You can go and find these people. You can go and network with these people. They were going on about, like, for example, Nigel Farage going to the East India Club in London. How many of you guys know where the East India Club is? Maybe one, maybe two, maybe none of you. I do. You know why? I've been there. I go to the same places. I network among these people. I understand how to reach a higher degree. I understand how to understand what's happening inside of the establishment. How do you think I make friends on the inside? How do you think I make friends with the staffers? They're fans of mine. They meet me at one of these places. We have a conversation. We keep in contact. We meet up for a drink every now and again. I get information. Like I revealed the other night about Robert Jenrick and Andrew Rosendale not actually going to defect to reform, but they were forced to. How do you think I know that? That information you get from these things. That information you understand from networking, talking to these people. That's why I'm far more beneficial than a lot of these other groups that don't do anything, because they're not involved. They're not trying to get involved. They're just trying to fight against. I'm like, you're not going to get anywhere with that. You're not going to get anywhere with that. You have to look for something more. You have to look for the inside, because the inside is where everything is. I said this before to you. Politics does not happen on TV. It's not when you're seeing fucking Burnham standing there on the beaches of Dover. It's happening in the corridors of Parliament. It's happening in the corridors of the offices. It's happening in the offices. It's happening in meetings. That's where politics is happening. And that's what I'm trying to advance people to do. And look, I'm happy for people to reach out. If people to reach out to me and be like, Hugh, point me in a direction where I could go to try and network with people or to meet people, I'll point you in directions. Absolutely. But that's where we need to be able to go. That's where you need to be able to drive forward if you want power. And that's why people like Fishback were so good, because it was a major networking opportunity. It was a major networking opportunity. And that's ultimately why more young people get involved, and they will take inspiration from people like Fishback. And look, here in Britain, we don't really have anybody like that. And it's people like me that are influencing people and that do have a reach out to people. And obviously, yeah, okay, sometimes I can be a bit brazen, I can be a bit jokey. There are sometimes I need to sharpen up my image or my attitude towards things, because I want people to take from it, and I want people to learn from it, and I want people to seek something from it. Not just taking it and going, haha, funny show, he told some jokes. gave me commentary, whatever. But I want them to take something from it, learn something from it, and then actually go and do something from it. And that 10% vote that we're seeing now over in Florida, that will replicate throughout the West over the next decade, and it will grow and it will grow and it will grow. And whilst it's growing, that is our perfect opportunity to seek any form of power, any form of dominance inside of it, because we're not going to get a candidate that we want yet. The boomers still have too much power, but if we get the staffers, then we have control. Then we have control and go, hold on a minute, we are controlling the MPs. Or if we have backbenchers, we are controlling the votes in a hung parliament. That fundamentally is the way forwards. That fundamentally is the way to win. And anybody can do it. It doesn't need to be a massive campaign. James Fishback had no big connections, not any money, and he made a name for himself, and he pushed himself out there. He brung the energy, he brung the charisma, he brung the intelligence, the wit, the humor, the youthfulness, and it helps him massively from it. So there you go. But anyway, the entire point of that is the fucking don't rape leaflets are retarded, and people don't care because we all know they're retarded. That's like the entire that was the entire point of that. But I went on to a massive run instead, because that's what I do. Apparently I cannot keep to one topic. I'll just keep going and going and going. What is wrong with these fucking people? Sometimes you ever just see like, you ever just see these like random fucking freaks? Anyway, let me go on to the actual super chats. Let me get onto the actual super chat. If you want your chat ran out, drop a super chat and I'll get onto it. Nice hat. Do you like the hat? The hair's a fucking mess. Look at that hairline. My hairline's fine, actually. I'll speak to my nan about this. My hairline's fine. My nan was like, it's just our family hairline. Well, I actually do feel like a young nigger. You know what I'm saying? I've got a machete around it. I'm joking, but like this is like very 2010, like white guy in the back of a black music video. Catch me in the back of like Dr. Dre music video or something like that. Or like I'm like the rip-off version of Eminem. I'm Skittles. I'm Skittles. Anyway, I'm fucking Skittles. Right. Anyway, I'll get onto the super chats. Sorry. Hugh got distracted again. I know. Hugh always gets distracted whenever it gets to it. Oh, great. The fucking super chats are broke. Okay, I fixed it, I think. Did I? Hello? This is why I need a media team to be able to do this for me, because they understand it. I don't have a fucking clue. Hello? It's just not working, is it? Give me a sec. It was literally fine like an hour ago. And now it's raping me. Now I'm being raped. Merlin, I'm going to have to deal with this. We're going to have to figure this out at some point. Because I don't fucking know what I'm doing. I don't fucking know what I'm doing. I just do the talking, all right? I do the talking, and it just won't go through. Am I doing something wrong? Am I doing something wrong? It was literally fine like an hour ago. I'm going to show you this at some point, Merlin, because maybe you'll understand it. I don't have a fucking clue. I don't have a fucking clue. I'm clicking the right thing. It's just not going through. Do I do that? No? Well, I'll just read them out to you then, because apparently it just doesn't want to have it. I don't even know why. It was actually fine an hour ago. And now it's raping me. Great. Yeah, I just love being raped. I just love being raped. It's great, you know. There's nothing that just makes me feel better than just being raped, honestly. Nothing that makes me feel better than just being raped constantly. Please, just keep raping me. Just keep raping me. I just sound like a white girl now that's voting for the Greens. Donny Blom F. Groip says, if you don't own Chinese tungsten mining equities, you are a pleb and will be forever a shab. Well, he's kind of right. He's kind of right. Let me explain. This is gonna Hugh's knowledge about the Chinese tungsten mining equities. So China owns about 82% of all natural resources when it comes to tungsten. And tungsten is one of the metals that is used in heat conducting technologies. So your light bulbs, solar panels, stuff like that. Tungsten at the moment as well, because of the wars and because of tariffs and sanctions, is extremely expensive. The tungsten market in 2026 has like shot up exponentially. I think they're looking at like profits of like $2,000 to $3,000 now. So actually, he's got a point, because every single country is going to have to turn, especially since America's war in Iran, they're going to have to turn to China for more imports. And with the advancement of net zero energy and things like solar panels and us trying to get all these and building computer systems as well for AI data centers, we need a lot of tungsten. So if you want mass amounts of profit, invest in tungsten mining equities. He's right about that. Because they're going to have to import it into our countries and it's going to be more expensive, which means that the profit margins that these companies are going to be earning goes up. So you as an investor will be earning tons and tons and tons and tons and tons more money than not. So Tungsten West is a UK company. Didn't they just start that? Isn't that about, didn't the guy get an improvement? Tungsten West. Heard on Mine Devon. Yeah. Hold on. Didn't these just get an improvement? Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Inside Plymouth's huge mine, creating loads of jobs as work ramps up. Hundreds of jobs are being created at Plymouth's vast tungsten mine, and many of them will be filled by locals. Production is ramping up at the Hemerdon mine near Plimpton, with 8 huge haul trucks being assembled to shift material around the enormous site. Drivers will be needed for those vehicles, part of a £23 million investment, which also includes 2 front-end loaders and 2 excavators, and the jobs are available for Plymouth people with training given. Yeah. So, are you surprised that I know about the tungsten mining equities? Are you surprised that I know about that? Are you surprised that I know about that? I read the news. I read the news. I do keep up. People think I don't actually keep up with the news because I'm not reading it like constantly. But I do read the news, and I did know about this. I did know about this. So, yeah, I read that a few days ago, actually. I read that a few days ago. Because I was reading about the stock markets. Obviously, because like our markets at the minute are fucked, because it's just like bonds and war bonds. So, yeah, people ask me about like investments. Hugh, what do I invest in? Well, there you go. That's a good thing to invest in. I always say like the war industry, the mining industry, anything that's involved in like solar panels. This is why people get mad at people like politicians that invest in like net zero companies, that's where the money is. That's where the money is. People get mad at all of these things. That's where the money is. There's a reason they're rich and you're not. There's a reason they're raking in thousands and millions of pounds in profit and you're not. It's because they know that they have to invest in these companies. I get people all the time, Hugh, I can't make money, I can't get a job. Well, why don't you start investing in these companies then? You can't bring them down. You're not going to bring them down by purity spiraling or spurging online. So why not use it? Why not use it? Gold, silver, yeah, those markets have been crazy. Those markets have been crazy. Those markets always are crazy, especially at a war, because we spend so much government funding on bonds that the material factors actually go up because of importations, exportations all being worse as well. So yeah, use AI as well. This is what I'm saying. Use Claude, use ChatGPT, use Grok, and find out the best places to invest money into. Use them. In Guinness. What is Guinness? I keep seeing this. I keep seeing this like I keep seeing this weird like pinhead pink thing. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Chat GTT. I meant GPT. I'm tired, man. All right, it's been a long week. What is Guinness? Have I missed out? Anyway, what was the other super chat? Indian Connie Hugh or Anglo Lily Phillips? Who the fuck is Connie Hugh? Am I going to regret typing this in? Oh. What is that? Why have you just put an Indian on my screen? She works in transport and energy. Radio presenter. Have I ever seen her before? Do I want the G or do I want the white slag? Is a noose an option? Is a noose an option? Who's messaging me on Messenger? Bro, I don't care. Why do people send me the most like retarded fucking messages? I don't give a shit. Fuck you. Like what? Retards, honestly. From Blue Peter. Oh shit, I've not watched that shit in ages. You know what I used to watch as a kid? You know that one where they were locked in a tower? I have a friend. Oh, who is it? One of my friends was on that show as a kid. They were locked in the tower. You know the tower? And they had to do the puzzles to get the key to get out. Would I ever go on one of those shows? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I would know. I need to collab with Daniel. I've met Daniel in person. Me and Daniel have met in person. I met him at Resom. I met him at Resom. Trapped. It's called Trapped. Yeah, I watched Trapped. Yeah, I like Daniel. Nice guy. If you were to sleep with one or die, would it be Nana, Akua, or Basin Buji? Well, you just told me two black names, so obviously I'm picking Death. Hugh, if you had to pick between Death, and Death, what would you pick? Just kill me. If you had to pick between Death, AIDS, or other AIDS, what would you pick? Just give me the bullet. What do you mean? Obviously, just shoot me. Hugh, if you had to pick between like the worst situation in the world, which you would be traumatized for the rest of your life, or killing yourself, what would you rather pick? I don't know. You work that one out. Would I rather be traumatized? If I sleep with Basin Bougie, she's going to roll over in the middle of the night and I'm dead anyway. If I sleep with the other one, I'm getting AIDS, so I'm dead anyway. And if I shoot myself, I save myself the trauma from even going through the situation. And I also save myself the embarrassment. Because imagine they go out there and tell somebody. Imagine like they go there. Imagine Bass and Bougie goes, I slept with Hugh. I'm not having that. I'm not having my legacy being he slept with Bass and Bougie. No. Just shoot me. Just shoot me. It doesn't even be. You can make it painful. I don't care. Run me over with a fucking 8-wheeler. Shoot me. Drown me. Waterboard me. Just do anything that kills me because I don't want to be with Bass and Bougie. All right. Anything. Anything. Literally anything. What fucking stupid. Would you rather kill yourself or deal with the worst thing in the entire world? Oh, I don't know, bro. Let me think about that one. I don't know. I hadn't thought about it. I think you could have asked me anything else and I probably would have given you an actual answer. My nan said this to me, actually. My nan's just like the recurring character at this point that always just comes up. She said this to me the weekend when I saw her. She went, why is your chat so weird sometimes? I went, what do you mean? I said, they ask you really, really weird questions. I was like, I know. She was like, are they okay? I said, no, Nan. I said, they're watching Hugh Anthony. They have stuff wrong with them. She went, they ask you really weird questions. Why are they always asking you about having sex with foreigners? I said, I don't know. She went, why do they always talk about you and Bass and Bougie having sex? I said, Nan, I don't know. It's just what they do. I said, look, if they were normal people, they wouldn't be watching my show. So we take it as a compliment. I said, we take it as a compliment. And she was like, some of them are very nasty to you as well. And I went, I know, but they're trying to make me kill myself. And it's not going to work yet. It's not going to work yet. But no, she's concerned. She reads all the comments. My nan reads all the comments, right? I don't think people realize this. My nan will be reading everything that you guys are typing right now. And she will just read it and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? She gets like that. She reads all like the nasty comments on my comments. And she's just like, she always says, she's like, she just wants to go through the screen and punch them. I'm like, Nan, you can't do that. I said, they're trying to rage bait you, Nan. You have to just accept it. You have to just accept it. Would I take Bass and Bougie on a first date? Are you fucking joking me? Do you know what the fucking bill would look like at that? Do you know what the bill would look like at that? Are you joking me? You think taking Bass and Bougie on a fucking date's going to be cheap? Fuck me. I'd be through my 3-course meal and she would still be on a starter because she would have ordered the entire fucking menu. Are you joking me? Are you joking me? You want to take Bass and Bougie on a fucking day? Honestly, how much money do you think I've got? Are you trying to bankrupt me? Anyway. I think I'm going to leave it there anyway. We're slightly past the time. I always say we'll stay till 9, and we always go over it. Lots of all these drive-bys towards Bass and Bougie, they keep bringing it at me. They keep throwing Bass. Well, you can't throw her at me. She's too big for that. But they keep throwing it at me. All right, okay. We're not talking about Dua Lipa either. Do we have to do this? Do we have to do this every single day? Like, Jen, can we go one stream about you guys just being retarded? It'd be KFC. That's crazy. Should send them into bankruptcy. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm back tomorrow for Friday. 4 shows this week. 4 shows this week coming up Friday. We're getting better. I'm trying to do the 5 a week. Sometimes I just miss it. I say sometimes. A lot of the time I just miss it. But I'm trying to do the 5 shows a week. So we're getting back there. But yeah, I'll be back. I'm back tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll figure something out. There'll be something to talk about. There'll be something stupid that happens or whatnot. But anyway, right, I'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss whenever I go live. Go check out the merch on the shop, prioritisebritain.shop/shop. Make sure you become a channel member as well. Channel members are extremely important. I think it's £4 to £7 a month. All that money just helps me carry on the show, bring you guys the content, bring you guys all of the jokes, the analysing, the witty commentary, all of that. It keeps me going. It's very useful. So become a channel member. We're going to add custom emojis soon as well. Make sure you follow me on all platforms as well at Hugh Anthony. You can find me on Rumble, Twitter, X, Kick, Instagram, TikTok, everything. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. God bless, and prioritise Britain.